There's an ongoing debate as to whether boxing is declining in popularity, and maybe the doomsdayers have a point. After all, the ludicrous numbers of organisations and belts, the reluctance of top fighters to risk losing, and the consistent paywalls blocking the eyes of fight fans can quickly extinguish optimism for the sweet science. For me, I think it's in a healthier state now than years prior, but that's a topic for another video. Yet, undeniably, the rot has been telling in certain parts of the globe, none more so than in South Korea. But for there to be a decline, there must have been a pinnacle. Before we explore it, please leave a like and consider subscribing, I greatly appreciate it. Now back to the video.
This is Korea.
It has been said that Korea has a shortage of everything but people, and it's not far from the truth.
From 1910 to 1945, Japan ruled Korea. In the mid-1920s, Koreans began to take up American-style gloved boxing, excelling in the sport. Korean amateur boxers earned berths on Imperial Japanese squads participating in the Far Eastern Championship Games and even at the Berlin Olympics. Notably, in the mid-1930s, the Korean Taekwondo Joe was arguably Japan's best professional boxer. Now, apologies in advance for butchering every Korean name in this video, but give me a break, it's a difficult language, okay? As the 1960s rolled around, Kim Ki-soo arrived on the scene, holding the undisputed WBA and WBC super welterweight titles from 1966 to 1968. The 1970s saw Yum Dong-kyun dominate the featherweight division, boasting an impressive record of 53 wins, 8 draws and 5 defeats, whilst Hong Soo-hwan became a world champion in 2 different weight classes. The 80s saw a stacked Korean roster emerge, with Baek In-chul holding the WBA super middleweight title, Kim Ji-won being an unbeaten world champion in the bantamweight division. Chang Jung-koo retained the light flyweight title from 1983 to 1988, and Park Chong-pao won the IBF and WBA crowns. The 90s and 2000s were also prosperous. Yu Myung-woo was the WBA light flyweight champion until 1993. Masamori Tokuyama held the WBC super flyweight title, while In-jin held the featherweight title between 2004 and 2007. But then, radio silence, in men's boxing at least. Choi Hyun-mi has held the WBA female super featherweight title from 2013 to 2023, and the featherweight title from 2008 to 2013, but her success is a serious anomaly. Wait, hold on a second.
This is the story of Choi Hyun-mi, the defector girl boxer. Hyun-mi took up boxing in her native North Korea when she was 13. Training at one of Pyongyang's top sports facilities.
She was literally trained in North Korea. But for the last 20 years, where has it all gone so wrong in boxing terms? A country of 40 million people in the 1980s was pumping out consistent champions. Now nothing. Does a sport die overnight, or is the fall more gradual?
Couple decades ago, South Korea was a hugely underdeveloped country with mostly uneducated population. In the span of one generation, South Korea went from a third world country to one of the most developed on the planet. It has better infrastructure than most European countries, it's churning out hundreds of thousands of university graduates every year, and there is a good chance you have some Korean-made products at home.
The country has achieved remarkable economic success, with real gross domestic product growing on average by 5.7% annually between 1980 and 2023. The mixture of an improved economy and greater industrialization has led to a more prosperous nation with greater social mobility. Now, it's no secret that boxing has historically been a working class sport, with boxers tending to come from poorer backgrounds. As of 2023, 60% of South Koreans are in the middle class, affording economic comfort to the younger generations, the future boxing champions to be exact. Why would a middle-class Korean choose to be punched in the face for money when the opportunity of law, medicine, journalism, or engineering beckons? It seems to be a class-conscious society, so boxing is potentially looked down upon as a poor man's activity in that sense. When considering this, comfort has curbed Korean boxing development, in my eyes at least. One aspect that can sometimes be overlooked is South Korea's technological development. The recent generations have had an abundance of gaming options at their fingertips. After all, who wants to do road runs in the rain when you can relax at home in front of a video game? South Korean gamers are known to dominate the esports scene across a variety of games, with the overall market being worth several trillion South Korean won. With a booming, more accessible sporting space available, it's unsurprising that younger Koreans are opting for this route. Now, this is where I have to admit I used an element of clickbait with the title, as it isn't simply comfort which has killed Korean boxing. There are other factors. Apologies. Let's start with boxing's direct competition.
Circumstances should the wrist be bent. This is generally used for attacking the philtrum, ribs, solar plexus, chest, and abdomen.
Taekwondo, a martial art founded in Korea, which the majority of youths in South Korea participate in according to studies. Koreans have consistently practiced the art, but with Taekwondo having been adopted as a demonstration sport at the 1988 Seoul and 1992 Barcelona Olympics, and as an Olympic medal event at the 2000 Sydney Olympics, it's highly likely that Korea's priorities shifted, with gold medalists like Son Tae-jin and Cha Dong-min winning in Beijing in 2008, and Kim So-hui and Oh Hoi-ri in Rio in 2016. The government-funded programs evidently began to take effect, likely starving boxing in the process. Now, I'd say that this shifting focus has only done harm for amateur Korean boxing, and we all know the importance of a strong amateur system in nurturing a future talent pool. Perhaps the Taekwondo drive links to the inextricable rise of MMA, with some fairly respectable fighters like Stun-gun Dong-hyun Kim, the Korean Zombie, and Do Ho Choi having come out of South Korea. In fact, Stun-gun and Zombie both practiced Taekwondo in their early years, and therefore likely saw MMA as a more suitable transition from the Korean martial arts than switching to pure boxing. This is further underlined by the popularity of Serum, a popular form of traditional wrestling performed across the country. MMA simply aligns better with traditional Korean sports, it seems. Yet there's one factor which can be quite easily overlooked: national trauma. South Korea has unfortunately seen 3 notable ring deaths, the most notorious of course being Duk-koo Kim. Now, if you want a full breakdown of Kim's demise, I'd recommend checking out my demonetized boxing iceberg video. YouTube censorship did me dirty over Arturo Gatti's final saga. I promise I'm not bitter about it. Anyway, Kim's fall in 1982 to Ray Mancini scarred the Korean nation, which was further worsened 20 years later by the death of former world champion Yo Sam Choi. He died after his win against Harry Amol, which was televised to a Korean audience. A few years later, Ki Suk-bae unfortunately joined the list. Since this, there have been fewer and fewer shows in Korea, with parents seeking to prevent their children suffering the same fate. Ultimately, with no star to look up to and deaths fresh in the memory, it's no wonder that the sport is fading into obscurity. What I'd conclude is, the mixture of greater economic opportunity and comfort, alongside the growing prominence of Taekwondo and consequently MMA, coupled with the long shadows cast over boxing by fallen Korean warriors, has facilitated an atmosphere in which boxing has been largely sidelined. But I'm very interested to hear what you guys think on this topic. Will we ever see South Korea return to its boxing heyday? Please leave a comment. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Cheers.